Some people are more prone to be negative than others, because I'm just telling you, like, I'm a little bit more prone to be negative than others. So sometimes you hear it and how I define myself, or how I what I see, my word choice. But I hit live, so I guess we should be streaming live. We'll see.
Well, I'll say this, man. Like, I think negativity is reflective more of exposure and emotions in their truest form.
True.
I think that negativity is emotions in its truest form, but it's just allowing ourselves to like recognize and assess our thoughts. And sometimes our thoughts aren't necessarily something we understand. So in darkness, you don't necessarily know what's being seen, right? Because in darkness, all you see, but there's plenty there. And so that's the thing I'll say is, I mean, don't allow the darkness to confuse you, because sometimes success can defeat you. And success is in the light, and the light is blinding, while darkness isn't necessarily as blinding. It actually can bring more light than the actual light is.
Wow, what a profound statement.
Huh?
What a profound statement. But basically, I'm live from my Facebook account, and we are live on the Cincinnati Herald's Facebook account. I might as well just start. We 2 minutes early, but you know, that's a good thing. Hello, everybody. My name is Michael Higgs. I am basically the host of the Black Male Experience. We have a larger show called The Influencers, and I was chosen to be an influencer. However, what I choose to speak about and influence is the Black male experience in America. From recent events, you know it's real. From recent events, you know it's not equal. From recent events, you know it is dangerous. It's ridiculous. And, you know, today I have a great host to speak about something that is very important to me, and that is staying strong throughout all of this chaos, throughout all this confusion, throughout all of this, just this heartache and heartbreak. We still have to stay strong and still be who we want to be at the end of the day. And I brought a great guest, a good friend, Mario Cannon. Here's some accolades about Mario Cannon. He is the former president of the Urban League Young Professional of Greater Southwestern Ohio. He's a producer of empowering content. You can find his Instagram at I am Mansa. And if you watch his videos, they can definitely help you. They get you together, you know? But he has other accolades. He has a master's in sociology. He used to run a program called When the Cops Come Knocking, which is a program that helps teenagers and adolescents know their rights so they can't be manipulated and abused. That is very important out here. That's really something that we need 100% of the time, because they will take advantage of what you don't know. What else, man? Like, you tell me, introduce yourself now. Mario Cannon, everybody.
So correction, I know that it is a little bit complicated and confusing at times. So I'm Mansa. So I am Mansa, Mansa, is my Instagram page. So the other things about me is I mean, I helped run a soft skills group. When I was early in my career, I worked with youth who were, many of the youth I worked with were court ordered to work with me due to situations going on with magistrates in the juvenile system. And also worked with, when I said the soft skills, I worked with the youth who were coming from detention centers and needing to be able to re-enter and be successful through their time being occupied in an appropriate way. I also worked with some of the most extreme mental health and behavior issues earlier on with one of my organizations I participated in, and I'm talking about conduct disorder, bipolar, schizophrenia, all those type of things. And so not everybody has serious mental health issues, so I don't want to mislead, especially later on in that industry. But I did also help run an alternative school for kids with extreme mental health and behavioral issues to help that they are able to transition back into traditional schools. So those are some of the key things. Right now, if I'm honest with you, man, it's just one of those moments where you have to remind yourself who you are. So I always say, remember who you are. And remember who you are is reflective of many things: your past, your ancestors, as well as the future that you want to have. And right. I stress controllables. There's a lot of things in this world we can't control. I got asthma. COVID-19 is a real thing that's been happening out there, and it's a respiratory thing that's affecting Black males at a disproportionate rate. Like,
Exactly.
I'm just trying to go to Kroger, and I'm seeing people walk around Kroger with no mask on and all these different things, just breathing. And I get it, the masks aren't necessarily going to save everyone from whatever because it's just a cloth or whatever. But if everyone here is covering, in theory, maybe we can protect each other. And the catch is us having a perspective of viewing the world in a way we control. And frankly, I've been blessed. I bought and purchased a couple of masks online that I hope is protecting me as well as others. I needed things that were going to protect myself. So I have been hyper aware and conscious of those type of things, and also aware of my thoughts during this time period. I mean, Black male and COVID-19, Black male in 2020.
And the Black male in 2020 is just being attacked on all sides. Like, I'm just about to paint the picture, and then we can really truly get into it. But to paint the picture is a toxic environment. All right. On one side, you have the police who are paid to protect us and to help us where, injustices arise in our neighborhoods and in our communities. We have seen that they do not protect us, but they do the exact opposite. They murder us. They lie about us. They make up stories to approve their actions of how they want to treat us. And so we have that aspect that we can't even go to the police because we don't even feel comfortable in the police. So that's the police aspect. Two, we have the racial aspect in America, as we're seen as thugs, criminals, all these stereotypes and preconceived ideas about who we are. It's just, it paints the picture of something that we're not. So you have that going on. Cops, a very toxic, not real image of who we are. And then our own communities is affected by violence. And we cannot skip over that. And we have to heal the trauma that makes us go at each other. So that is very lightly the racial background of America. We also had the COVID-19 situation that was affecting Black people disproportionately. So it's like, it's an attack. But throughout it all, before we find our way to greatness, before we find the ultimate solution to racism, how do we remain strong in a healthy mindset in a very unhealthy, toxic environment? Something that you basically stressed is controlling your inner voice and controlling the controllables. Can you speak about the inner voice? Because that inner voice will help you through a lot of tough times.
So when it comes to the inner voice, at the end of the day, when we wake up during the entire day, before we go to sleep, the voice we're going to hear is our own, in our head, our thought. And if we do not gain control of that, it will control us. At no point are you thinking all negative thoughts and then you go out with a smile on your face and do something positive. Like, it just doesn't happen. If you do, on a bad day, go out there and become productive, as many of us are forced to do on a day-to-day basis, you are creating a thought in your brain in which you are able to do so. So even in that, it's not a complete negative thought. The negative thoughts are present, but you have this view of an end goal in which you can succeed at. And so the thing that's most important in understanding who you are is knowing what your goal is. When you know what your goal is, and when you actually study a significant amount of books on success and you study the people who have achieved many things in life, you understand that the number one thing that comes with success is definiteness of purpose, vision. Where there's no vision, the people perish. You have to understand where you're going. Any road will get you anywhere, but if you know where you're going, then you can make sure that that exit, which is not a bad exit, is just the wrong exit for you, that you're able to get to your right destination. So your vision, your definiteness of purpose gives you a clear understanding of how to move, how to act, and what to be thinking. And to do this, one of the things that I do is I make sure I have mantras. I make sure when I wake up, I have things that I'm reading, I'm listening to. I definitely allow myself early this year to wake up and turn over like the average person, look at Instagram or whatever's going on in the world. And can't lie, I definitely did that this morning because there's a lot going. and gotta stay informed. But earlier in your day, you're just downloading so much negativity before you're able to really start your day off in a healthy way. You need to control your thoughts, control your inner voice, in order to know that your life is going to move in the direction that you want it to do. So I think for me, my control the controllables is know what your goal is, know what you want, and know what you're willing to do to get there, and recognize there's things out of your control. Perfect example right now, people are protesting because of what they sing. And I want to say it as clear as that, because of what they sing, because of what they feel, because of what they've experienced.
Right.
And unfortunately, the narrative shifts because you do not control the media, but you control your actions, and your actions show up on camera. And right. Now you have a city divided. I'm looking at Instagram, I'm looking at Facebook, I'm looking at the news, and all they're talking about is the looting, the rioting. And then you have one side that's saying it was good, one thing that's saying is bad, another sitting in the middle, and you have the same people who are protesting arguing among themselves because there was a lack of clarity, because when emotions take control, you don't necessarily focus. But there's a way to do that. But I'm going to stop talking because I feel like I've been rambling for a while. But on the conversation of emotions, I definitely need to talk about that at some point.
Yeah, because I'll be 100% honest. Like, this is supposed to be a cathartic type of conversation, and we hopefully Black males can relate. But you know, sometimes I walk around in a state of anger only because I can't understand why are people so crazy. Like, don't you, like, you can't put 1 + 1 together. Like, they can't see what's truly in front of their faces. Like you don't know about human rights and suffering. Like I don't understand. It's like it's a complete psychosis on the other side that keeps them from seeing us as regular human beings. And I get so frustrated in that. So you definitely have to speak about the angry Black man, because I have been the angry Black man before, and I have faced those angry Black man consequences before, and they're not good. It damages you socially. It hurts your pockets. You feel me? And to be honest, it definitely hurts relationships you have with other people, because you can be the angry Black man and not even know you're the angry Black man, and then be the angry Black man to your mom or to your girlfriend or to just regular people that you don't want to be the angry Black man to. So please speak about the small amount of anger that some of us walk with every single day. Right. Exactly.
So here's, I'm going to paraphrase, because I never say this quote perfectly, but we've heard it in the way that I've said it. To be conscious and Black in the United States is to be in a constant state of rage. James Bond.
Exactly.
Not perfectly stated. But the catch is rage, anger, frustration. There's no question. It causes heart attacks. It creates stroke. It gives you ulcers. It can create petri discs to help your body develop cancer. It's absolutely unhealthy for us. And although it is a true emotion, it's an emotion in which we have to assess within ourselves. Can't assess it for other people. You can only control yourself. So in that, there's two things. The first thing is to learn the root of it. Learn what you want to come of it. Be clear with yourself with that answer. And this is not even the second point. This is my question to you, genuinely to you, because you're the only person I'm talking to right now. How do you function? That you struggle with it, but I'm genuinely curious now, because I feel like I know how I function in it, and that's the point too. But how do you feel when you see what you see, when you witness what you witness, and know what you know? Because one of the most dangerous things in the world is to know too much. Because when you know too much, man, you can't delete that memory. So
exactly. I don't know if people on my live can hear. I don't know if people on my live, sorry, can hear. But he said when you know too much, it can be dangerous. It can be hurtful to you. Also, you were speaking about like, how do I function? So before I explain, I just wanted to let everybody know that the question is, how do you function when you're constantly angry? And before I tell you, I just want to let Mario speak a little bit more about his questioning. I'm sorry, go ahead.
So that's where part 2 comes in. Many people I want to say the word is ruminate. When you're sitting here overplaying, like you continue to play over and over in your brain, something that happened.
Yep.
Think in advance. If you know you're going into an environment, or we know what's going on in the world right now, you know what can happen. You don't know everything. There's a significant amount of information and ambiguity that comes with it. But
right,
what you can do is take your thoughts, unfortunately, and this is just something as a Black man, as the man I am, I've always had to do that because I've grown up in some, let's say, hazardous environments, whether it was a school I attended in high school, early years, or my actual neighborhood. So you have to be aware of what could happen and tell yourself in advance, this is how I will react. Have pre-planned actions for negative interactions that could happen and pray they never happen. But the reason you do this, you pre-plan a reaction solely so when the emotion kicks in. So there's this book called Switch by the Heath brothers or Heath cousins, whatever. And they talk about the rider and the elephant. And the elephant are emotions. The rider is logic. And logic can have a view of where we're going to go. But that elephant, your emotions, can take you wherever it wants. But the rider can guide the elephant when both of them are under control and the rider has a significant understanding of the emotions, the elephant. And that's what you have to do with yourself. Have an understanding of, when I get mad, when I get angry, I will react like this. And I know that about myself. So, is what I will do. Do that when you're calm. And in theory, some people can't control themselves. I'm speaking for myself. I'm saying what has worked for me. When it happens, it's almost recording is getting pushed. Like I'm hitting the button, pre-recorded response is happening. And I already planned on, to some degree, I'm a pre-planner, obviously. So I'm already thinking how this person could respond negatively, positively, in between, and how I need to respond in that moment. And it sucks that we have to think like that, but I'm a Black man trying to move along and be successful and achieve everything I want in my life. And at the end of the day, I have to control myself. I have to control my controllables and not allow myself to forget what the end goal was just because I'm emotional.
Right. And that's the thing, like, basically, when we are confronted with these cops and these police officers, they do take a psychological training and they do try to psychological bully you. However, you have to be aware of their tactics so you can, step over it and actually still go about your day unaffected. But I'm about to take it back to the question you said about, you asked about how do I function if like angry. How do I function? Like pure will. Like I want this. This is what I want to do. You know what I mean? Like there's this goal in my head that still has yet to be extinguished. So until I'm gone, I still have to get that done. So I circumvent my anger for my goals, like you said. But the side effects it does have on me makes me hate people. You know what I'm saying? It makes me turn into the things I hate. Like I can never be a racist white person or a Black racist person because that means you're blanketing all the white people. That's too simple. That's too easy. At the end of the day, I'm better than that. But when I see some of this injustice, I'm thinking like white people but it's not all white people. So for me, I have to recollect myself and understand that it's not everybody. This is just a few people that's really affecting you and affecting things, but it's not the whole general population. Also, really, you just have to be in touch with yourself. You know what I mean? Like, you know your accomplishments. I know my accomplishments. You can't even hurt me if you wanted to. You don't even know me. Like, it's really just, it's crazy. But when I think about it, I get frustrated. And I'm getting frustrated right now just thinking about all the craziness that just don't make sense that happened to me. But I function based off pure will. I want it. I'm getting up every day to go get what I want. And I want to be successful. I think about my family. I want them to be successful. So I try to get up every day and try to accomplish my master plan, because I feel like my master plan will pay me more than any other job that can pay me. So every day I wake up trying to accomplish my master plan, like Pinky in the Brain, trying to take over the world. And that's how I function. But something else I want to highlight that is, you spoke about it yesterday when we were talking, the information is like, we can combat what I'm about to speak about with education, but what it is called, what you said, is passed down trauma through genetics, right? They did the experiments on human beings, lab rats, right? We're not lab rats at all, but they have, what?
I'm not gonna lie, I got like several things that you said that I gotta touch. I can't run past.
Oh, like, you can go back to some of the things I said.
You
okay, no. Go ahead and start. Let's do it.
Not just disappear in this conversation. Like,
no, go ahead.
Like, the social is like going like, did he just say black racist? Did he just say that? I know he didn't say it like that, but I hope he didn't mean to say it.
There's no such thing as a black racist, but you know, they don't know that. You know what I'm saying? But I bet you they know the term black racist.
But
other than, you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. And I'm not talking to you because we've talked before, so I know I'm not talking to you. We get into rhythm, but I feel like some concepts and terms need to be flushed out a little bit. So I'm gonna put it in a way that a person can perceive it. When it came to Rosa Parks, it wasn't racist that they called her the N-word. Correction, it wasn't simply racist that they called her the N-word when they wanted her to move. It wasn't simply racist that they wanted her to go to the back of the bus. It wasn't simply racist that she was arrested. It was entirely racist that they had the power to take away her humanity in that word. It was entirely racist that they had the power to move her to the back of the bus if she decided to, a little bit within her power. And since she didn't decide to within her power, they used their actual power to arrest her. Racism requires power. At the end of the day, it would be absolutely ridiculous to say that an enslaved African, I hate to say a slave, because slave implies that that's their actual, that's what they are. And we're so brainwashed that we say that, yeah, my ancestors were slaves. No. Your ancestors were enslaved. Right. It's a significant psychological difference that you need to make sure you're stating out loud. So it's important to recognize that the enslaved African whose mother was raped in front of them, whose father was beaten half to death in front of him, whose cousin was locked under a chamber just so it could suffer in a specific type of way, a special dark type of way that doesn't often come up beyond whips and all these other things. And Django Unchained kind of exposed some of that stuff, but there are a lot worse things they did. It would be fair and unreasonable to say that that child, that person who witnessed all of that, who hated that person over here who did it, hated them for reasonable cause, was racist. That by definition doesn't make sense. Now, is it okay to be hateful? Is it okay to be bigoted? Is it okay to be somebody who likes to, oh my goodness, I'm really spacing right now, but you get the idea. We can be a bigot. We can be a fascist. We can be all these terms that I wouldn't necessarily, I never want anybody to be this. It just goes against healthy life. But the reality is, today, that's possible. Racist is not possible. The other part is, you mentioned self-control and willpower. Self-control is a limited resource. At a certain point when we get fatigued, we may cave, we may crack, we may say certain things. That's why at the end of a long day, people go home and have a good sip of a drink, because all of their willpower and control has gone. It's faded. They just want to sit back and relax and not have control of themselves. And the reason I had to follow with that part is because it was a joke, because I love Pink in the Brain. What are you trying to do to now, Brain? Trying to take over the world. But here's the thing. Right now, this physical being right here, this is my world. The woman that I'm married to, she's included in that. I'm trying to take over my world. I can't control nothing out there. And I know that's not how you said it, but I need to make sure that people hear how they need to be thinking a little bit differently right now, especially in a world that feels like we have no control. Because COVID-19, stay home or wear a mask. You can't go out and do certain fun things that you used to. You lost control, trying to regain it through whatever tactics that you're doing at this moment. And a lot of us are dealing with grief and trauma. And if you look at the 5 stages of grief, true story, my wife was in a training just, I think it was within the last couple of days. And I went back and I was like, oh, shoot, that's hilarious. Because been through the depression, the anger, and all of the denial, only to now realize, oh, shoot, I definitely, before all of this that's happening right now really took off, I was like, shoot, I'm legitimately in the state of bargaining. Like, all right, so if we want to travel, this is how we'd have to do it. Like, trying to bargain with how to pull things off. And it's like a lot of us are going through grief. And a lot of us are stuck in depression because of it and trauma. Last thing I'll say is, at this point, it's a sickening question to ask. It would be safe to say that you've witnessed on camera at least 4 deaths of a human. Correct?
Oh, yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
And the reason it's sickening is because it is. We can't normalize that. And the second part is frankly, at this point, I'm over it. Like, I've gotten the idea. I'm a Black man. I know for a fact that these experiences have happened. I know what the risks are for myself, and I know how I have to handle when I go into the world. I know what I have to tell my son or my daughter if I don't have them yet, but when they decide to go into the world. I know these things. And in that, I have to be aware at all times. And I have to always know that who I am and what I want and who I love is always within my power in this one way.
True.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not. I'm sorry.
Not about to say that.
Because
Huh?
emotions are high and they get the best of us. And sometimes that elephant can take you down a path that the rider doesn't want to, and the rider doesn't want to right now. So
Okay. I mean, right now, I'm. This is one of the hardest shows for me to do because my thoughts are everywhere. Like with all the recent death and the racial profiling, which is just so in your face, you still got people saying you still got people on the other side saying no, it's in our heads or he deserved it. Do you know how crazy this environment is? Like, it's crazy. But we have 5 minutes left, and I'm not about to leave my viewers thinking that this world is crazy and there's no hope. No, there is hope. It's tough and it's going to hurt because we have to put that hard work in, and our solutions are not going to be easy solutions. But the question for the next episode, which is going to be on the 13th of June, is where do we go from here? Literally, where do we go from here? What can Black people do about the dangerous environment that we live in? We know what we can do by mentally staying stronger and sounder and controlling the controllables, having a stronger inner voice, and having goals. But what can we do to force the type of change we need from our environment? Because right now our environment has been failing us, and it's, to be 100% honest, completely unconstitutional. It's messed up, and it's been messed up for hundreds and hundreds of years. And it's just like, I just stopped because I'm frustrated because I just don't understand it. Like, what? So the next question on the next episode is, where do we go from here? We got 4 minutes left. You want any parting thoughts at all?
first thing, what I was gonna say last, and I spaced, I'm sorry, is if you've witnessed it, stop watching it. it's just over and over trauma. Like, you don't have to keep witnessing death. You can read the article and feel the exact same experience without actually watching him die. I'm sorry, I refuse to watch Mott's death. I just can't. It's not in my spirit. I'm already hurting.
Break your spirit. They're trying to break your spirit. They're trying to break your spirit by showing you injustices to your face and be like, well, they about to get off too. That's why I felt like it was important to do this, because they're trying to break our spirit. Nah.
I don't care what anybody's trying to do. What I'm trying to do is what I'm talking about. Is make sure that I'm a functional human who is thinking with clear thoughts, who recognize past trauma. Because I didn't decide to go to war. I didn't decide to even be a mortician that dealt with dead bodies in a healthy way. I don't want to see dead bodies, and I want to see the life taken. I don't care whether or not you feel the person was right or wrong. I don't want to witness another human's life taken. I don't care in what context it happens. I didn't sign up for this. And I'm forced, and we're all forced to have been exposed to it. But at this point, read the article if you want to. You got the idea. You don't need to keep doing this over and over. And here's my immediate feedback for next week. I'm not going deep into details, but I'll say this because I know we have limited time. Understand the system in which you live in.
Right.
Understand history. I feel that oftentimes it's like being a Christian and trying to convert somebody to your religion and not knowing theirs. You need to understand that side, your side, and the in-between. Because the in-between is where you're trying to meet them and potentially sway them to yours. If you understand a system and you understand your goal, in theory, you might be able to get somewhere. But if you come from only your perspective, that's going to cause this. Both sides are always going to butt heads, which is where you see in the political arena. There is no real gray area where conversation is taking place for one or the other to sway. They're trying to prove their points, and that's not the goal. The goal is not this, to bang heads. The goal is to get to the end goal. So what is it going to take? Understand what you want. Understand what system you're within. Understand what you need. Understand the people that you need to have relationships, connections with, the resources that will be required in order for you to do so. What don't you know in order to be successful? You don't know, and that can hold you back. But at the same time, what can also hold you back is your fear of even trying to achieve it. Most people don't succeed at things because they don't allow themselves to stop convincing themselves why they can't do something.
Very true.
Pregnant with our dreams and our goals and aspirations because we don't conceive it throughout our life, because we don't know how the actual birthing process is going to be. It's one of the most dangerous things in this world. And so, do you have the courage to take in all that information? Do you have the courage to kind of silence your elephant in order to listen to the writer, and at the same time understand your elephant and respect it in the process of being the writer? Understand your emotions, your logic, and work together in harmony so you can be comfortable with yourself.
That's an excellent ending, to be 100% honest. And on that note, I have to sign out. Thank you for watching. I appreciate your views. Hopefully a lot of information and a lot of knowledge got inserted into your head one way or another. Always remember to control the controllables. And you do have an inner voice. Listen to them. Or if it's negative, don't. But to be 100% honest, meditation is very good as well. But on that note, we have another show at 6 p.m. on the Cincinnati Herald's live Facebook page. Make sure you stay tuned for that. I believe it is Miss Naila Edwards. She is going to do her thing. She is a mover and shaker in Cincinnati, so please stay tuned for her. That is 6 p.m. at the Cincinnati Herald's live Facebook account. With that being said, this has been another episode of The Black Male Experience. I'm Michael Higgs. Our guest, Mario Cannon. I'm out. If you want to contact me, hit me up on Facebook or the Cincinnati Herald. But yeah.
Instagram Live.
Oh yeah. Instagram Live, because we're going to actually continue this conversation on Instagram. And hopefully we can get more information that other people can learn from. So I'll be on Instagram. What you say? What's your plug?
Mansa.
I'm Mansa. So that's where you will find us on Instagram Live. Just speaking and talking and a bit more real conversation. But yeah, on that note, it's time for me to go. I'm gonna get my live together. I know my content may look a little meh, but stick with me and it's gonna come together full circle. But all right, see y'all on Instagram Live. Peace. And see y'all too. All right, Mario, it's been good talking to you on this platform. See you on the next one, dog. Define myself how I am. Peace.
Cheers.